If I have a pig and I butcher it, I slaughter it and butcher it and turn it into a sausage, that sausage will cost here 74p. If I buy imported pig meat, make it into a sausage, it's 18p.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Something's wrong with our food system in this country. My pig reared on my farm, by the time it gets here, it's got a cost of 74p. An imported sausage, 18p.
So what's your message to the new government? Do you think they get the kind of rural economy at all?
No, I don't think any of them have set foot outside Kentish Town for the last 35 years. No, they're a hopeless bunch.
So would you invite Keir to your pub, Keir Starmer, Prime Minister?
No, he's banned. He's the first person to be banned. He's actually on a board in the hall. He's banned.
Why? What have you got against him?
Hello? I thought you were running a news operation.
Okay.
He hasn't done much to endear himself to me yet. Well, we'll have a look at farming. It all might turn around, you never know.
Jeremy Clarkson isn't shy about voicing his feelings regarding the Labour Party's housing proposals, and his recent criticisms of Angela Rayner only reinforce this. His frustration centres on one glaring issue. Labour's plan to construct 1.5 million new homes not only seems unrealistic, it borders on insanity. He doesn't merely question the figures, he vehemently attacks the very foundation of this strategy. Clarkson believes the party is completely out of touch with the severity of the housing crisis, which grows more alarming by the day. But what truly infuriates him? The shocking revelation that 5 out of 7 new homes will be allocated to immigrants. How can anyone tackle such a crucial issue with such a lack of responsibility?
It gets better, wait.
With local plans, we're working with local councils and mayors to look at how we can deliver the homes that we desperately need.
We've spoken to almost every Labour council, including Tameside,
her constituency,
and they have said they are unrealistic and unachievable. So are you going to force their hand?
The entire construction industry, anyone who works in or has worked in construction or housing, planning, anything like that, knows this target is impossible. Councils say it's impossible. The building industry says it's impossible. What's Labour's solution?
To meet those targets?
We are saying that they're mandatory targets and we want mandatory plans. So we're telling them this is what we expect and we'll work with them to deliver it.
Angela Rayner's recent interview turned into a complete disaster, which was clearly not what she had in mind. The event quickly spiraled into a failure, highlighting her utter lack of preparation and understanding of the pressing issues facing the UK. The discussion revolved around critical topics such as housing, immigration, and their connections, and when Rayner was asked about the government's strategy for addressing homelessness, she appeared utterly bewildered. Her responses were filled with vague statements and a clear reluctance to confront the issue head-on. While many of these homes are intended to assist the most vulnerable, Rayner attempted to sidestep the conversation by denying that housing distribution is occurring as critics suggest. However, these accusations are not merely media chatter, they are directly tied to Labour's plans and raise serious doubts about the party's ability to tackle the real challenges facing society.
You have committed as a pledge to build 1.5 million new homes during this Parliament. You are also the Housing Secretary as well as the Deputy Prime Minister.
By the way, 1.5 million homes that anyone who knows anything about construction knows it's impossible. But wait.
Almost every single Labour council in England that the BBC has spoken to says that those housing targets are either impossible to achieve or they're unrealistic or both.
Unrealistic, impossible to achieve, or both. Listen to the response. Classic Labour.
Are they wrong?
Well, we set out with the National Planning Policy Framework around mandatory targets. They
Brilliant.
were set on a rule which was around affordability, and we believe that they can deliver them.
We believe that they can deliver them.
Rayner, of course, strongly refutes these figures, asserting that they are simply wrong. But here's the twist, these numbers didn't come from an external critic, they were taken directly from the Labour Party's own proposals. So why does she label them as inaccurate? This raises significant doubts and confusion. Clarkson passionately argues that the Labour Party's response is not about correcting the facts, but rather about dodging accountability. When a prominent figure like Rayner refuses to acknowledge clear evidence, it leaves people questioning whether they truly grasp the entire situation. Clarkson firmly believes that Labour lacks the capability to provide a solution that satisfies everyone. And when Rayner insists that these figures are incorrect, a valid question arises: who is actually telling the truth about the future of housing construction in the UK. The more you dig into the details, the more contradictions emerge, leading to chaos and confusion. Many are baffled to see that, in times of austerity, Rayner should be focused on work rather than enjoying herself on the dance floor. It's simply absurd.
To remind you that you have said yourselves as a government, we're going to need 2.5 million migrants. Some of them, by the way, people are going to build the houses. Suddenly, there's a lot of housing. Where are these people going to go?
Well, Trevor, first of all, when you say about building as well, the previous government did use migrant labour far too much instead of actually building skills here in the UK. I've announced £140 million for new construction hubs so that we can train people here to deliver those housing. So I don't accept that we're going to bring migrants in for that. We've always said that actually we need to skill our own people up. But equally, we need to build the homes that people need. Nobody's had a focus on social housing for a generation, and I'm going to build those homes because far too many people at the moment are waiting on council housing lists, and I've got to fix that.
I really wish...
The situation becomes genuinely alarming when you examine the numbers. Since Labour took power, the influx of new immigrants into the UK has surged by a staggering 20,000 people. Alongside the already dire housing shortage, it is becoming increasingly challenging for the average Briton to access the assistance they need. Rayner's failure to effectively address this escalating issue makes her appear less like a leader and more like someone completely oblivious to the gravity of the situation. At one point, she even dismissed the accusations as incorrect, without offering any solid evidence or solutions. Public discontent is palpable and intensifying with each passing day. Critics, including Clarkson, argue that this only reinforces the notion that Labour is out of touch with the reality on the ground. They have struggled to manage the housing crisis and now find themselves unable to openly discuss its true causes. Rayner's performance was not merely a botched interview, it served as a wake-up call, revealing that Labour is desperately searching for answers, but failing to find them. This is precisely what Clarkson highlighted when he stated that the party has no clue what it is doing.
And that more than 5 out of 7 new homes will go to immigrants.
Well, that's not the truth, and that's not the case.
That's what will happen.
Well, that's not the reality, because
where the 2.5 million immigrants that are in Rachel Reeves' budget figures going to turn up? Where are they going to live?
Well, there's plenty of housing in the UK, but the houses, especially social
hang on. You can't, on the one hand, say we've got to build this 1.5 million houses and then say there's plenty of housing already.
There is plenty of housing, Trevor, already, but there's not enough for the people that desperately need it. So the homes, especially under our affordable homes programme, which is social and affordable housing, they will be there for people who desperately need them, local people. We've already outlined how we're going to support veterans and people who are fleeing domestic violence.
Angela Rayner's remarks about housing construction last week only intensified the controversy, and it was truly shocking, especially when she managed to contradict herself during a live broadcast. On one hand, she asserts that there is already sufficient housing in the UK, yet on the other, she emphasizes the necessity of constructing 1.5 million new homes. This raises numerous valid questions. If there is already enough housing, why build even more? Rayner struggled to provide a convincing response, and the contradictions were evident to everyone. If the housing supply is adequate, why not concentrate on optimizing the use of the homes we already have?
Party opposite.
You're just reading. You're supposed to be answering the questions.
They are the questions.
For you to read.
No, they're the bits I've written, actually, in regards to her questions.
Why is there such an urgent need to construct 1.5 million new homes when homelessness continues to be a significant and distressing issue? Rayner's responses were a muddled mix of jargon and excuses, and when pressed for clarification, she appeared bewildered. She failed to provide any solid arguments for why there should be a substantial increase in housing costs, especially when she claims there is already enough housing available. This complete lack of clarity suggested that she had not fully considered the party's own housing strategy. When a politician cannot clearly articulate their own plan, it raises serious doubts about their reliability and undermines the credibility of their leadership.
Angela has my full support and my full confidence today and every day as we work together to take the Labour Party back into government so we can serve the interests of working people. And she's vital for that.
It's easy to understand why critics, including Clarkson, are so eager to highlight the shortcomings in Labour's approach. Society seeks common sense from politicians, especially on crucial issues like housing that affect us all. When Rayner began to sound uncertain and confused, It served as a wake-up call that the Labour Party might be struggling to address this pressing issue. Many started to feel that she had fallen into a predicament with no way out. If the housing situation is truly as dire as claimed, why does the government persist in advocating for such large-scale new construction? Keir Starmer's continued support for Angela Rayner, even after her disastrous interview, reflects his leadership qualities, yet is also perplexing. Despite the mounting criticism and public discontent, Starmer remains steadfastly by her side. He maintains that Rayner is the perfect deputy leader of the Labour Party and that she is excelling in her role. However, in the current political climate, such loyalty, while seemingly noble, appears entirely misplaced. What are your thoughts on this? Share your opinions in the comments and see you next time.